silakan untuk duduk. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Yang berbahagia, Datuk Seri Dr. MAHKOTA, Group Chief Executive and Managing Director PKT Logistik Group Sendirian Berhad. Yang berusaha, Tuan Haji Muhammad Roslan bin Muhammad Saludin, Ahli Majlis Penasihat Dewan Perdagangan Islam Malaysia DPIM. Yang berusaha, Tuan Haji Adnan bin Muhammad, Ketua Penolong Pengarah Bahagian Pengurusan Halal Jabatan Agama Islam Pahang, JAIB. Yang berbahagia, Puan Hajah Nurhan binti Silik, Pengarah Politeknik Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah, POLISAS. Yang berusaha, Puan Hajah Zamra binti Dirahman, Ketua Corporate Industrial Service and Employability Center, POLISAS. Dan yang dihormati para hadirin sekalian, mencari tumba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempur. Salam sembah pembuka bicara. Selamat datang untuk semua. Saya Firdaus Rashid selaku pensyarah Jabatan Perdagangan Politeknik Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah, POLISAS, selaku pengacara majlis bagi Fokus Group Dialog 2022. Hadirin sekalian, Fokus Group Dialog telah diadakan sejak tahun 2015. Terima kasih dan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan diucapkan kepada yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. MAHKOTA, Group Chief Executive and Managing Director PKT Logistik Group Sendirian Berhad, di atas keprihatinan terhadap Politeknik Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah yang juga selaku CEO at POLISAS bagi program Diploma Logistik and Supply Chain POLISAS. Dengan ini majlis dengan sukacitanya menjemput yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. MAHKOTA bagi memberikan ucap tama. Dipersilakan.
Okay, selamat pagi everyone. Hai, Puan Norehan, Puan Zamra, hai. Tuan Haji Roslan, Tuan Haji Adnan, welcome. And also we have an industry partner here, Siu from Seiko, Yayasan PKT Zil, can you stand up? Ini dari Yayasan PKT, just newly joined us. Welcome her on board. I understand today we have also Polytechnic Metro dekat sini. Polytechnic Metro angkat tangan. Oh, banyaknya. You, tangan kuat sikit lah, tak nampak. POLISAS. Oh, okay, banyak orang. Alright. So, all in the subject of logistics kan? Logistics. Do you enjoy study logistics so far? Okay. Lepas graduate nak kerja mana? PKT ya. Okay. Good morning. Actually, today we have a lot of event here, and when I was invited to give a speech, so I thought, what is most important for you is to understand what is the future when you graduate from Polytechnic and POLISAS and also Polytechnic Metro. Okay, I am also now championing Logistics Productivity Nexus under MITI. So what is Logistics Productivity Nexus? We are trying to improve the productivity in logistics in Malaysia. Okay, but let me share with you what is going on in the logistics in the big picture. Okay, gambar yang besar sekali lah. Okay, this is talking about Malaysia. We want to become the next ASEAN logistics hub. Okay, logistics hub yang terbesar di Southeast Asia sekarang bukan Malaysia. Guess from where? Who is terbesar di Southeast Asia? Singapore. Betul. Siapa pandai itu? Ambil tangan. Kasih satu like. Okay. So I just show you the next slide. The biggest port in Asia, Southeast Asia. Ada? Now, the biggest port, as you know just now, you already say, Singapore with 37 million TEUs. 37 million TEUs, per TEUs means per container lah. Okay, 37 million TEUs. Number 2 in Asia is Port Klang, Pelabuhan Klang with 12 million TEUs, number of container. Number 3 is Tanjung Pelepas, Johor. Okay, with 12 million TEUs, 12 million TEUs. Number 4, Lam Cabang, Penang. Penang pula. Lam Cabang mana? Thailand. 8 million TEUs, jauh dari Malaysia. And then number 5, Tanjung Priok, Indonesia. 7.6 million TEUs. So yang terbesar memang Singapore, 37 million TEUs. Kalau Pelabuhan Kelang dengan Tanjung Pelepas combine, kita ada berapa million? 24 million TEUs. So kita Malaysia dalam tempat yang kedua sekarang di Southeast Asia. So tapi World Bank, bukan bank negara, bank dunia memberi kita tempat yang ke-41 bawah Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam dalam Logistics Performance Index. Now ini memang to me is not right lah, because in terms of number kita number 2, tapi dalam ranking di dunia kita ranking number 41 behind Vietnam, behind Thailand and behind Singapore. This is a problem, okay? Jangan tepuk tangan. Boo. Okay. 41 tau. Bukan dari number 1. Singapore number 7. Macam mana nak ambil dari ini position dari Singapore? Susah. Kalau kita nombor 41 dalam itu statistik yang dikumpulkan oleh Bank Dunia. Okay. Now bila kita check apasal Malaysia bukan nombor 1 ke nombor 2, then we found out, of course Malaysia kita mempunyai infrastruktur yang bagus sekali lah. North-South highway cantik, highway ke Kuantan pun cantik, all the highways very well in terms of connectivity. Kita ada port yang cantik juga, yang besar, Westport dengan PTP Port. Tetapi banyak ada lain yang tak bagus lah, the weakness of Malaysia. One of them is talking about our custom weakness, custom very slow. And number 2 is talking about the bottleneck. Bottleneck dari Thailand ke Malaysia. Kalau you pernah pergi Dialog, lepas border, you nampak itu traffic jam 4 km nak masuk Malaysia. That is a problem, okay? And one of the major issue is no skilled manpower. Tak cukup manpower, tak cukup graduate dalam bidang logistics, okay? And low value as well. So, and according to the World Bank, they recommend us to do a few things. First, we must liberalize our logistics industry. So license itu mesti buka lah, dia cakap. And introduce requirement for the licensing cost to be reduced as well, and many other things. So this is the 2 recommendation by World Bank. Kalau saya cakap semua, you pun tak faham sangat lah. Okay, one of the thing is to become more efficient, and we have to sign the ASEAN framework agreement. So dari 10 country, because ASEAN ada 10 countries, 8 countries already signed the ASEAN framework for transportation. 2 negara belum sign lagi, iaitu Malaysia antara satu lah. Okay. On top of that, I would like to make another slight comparison. Can you move to the next slide? Okay. Now, Malaysia population kita, next slide please. Okay. Malaysia kita punya population 32 million. Singapore 5.6 million. Okay. Logistics contribution to GDP. How do you say that? Okay, logistics contribution kepada keluaran negara besar, okay, is 3.8% sekarang. Singapore 6.19%. So the value of the contribution in Malaysia is 57 billion. Singapore is 96 billion, okay. So value dia besar, almost double dari Malaysia. Tapi ni tengok, Malaysia employed 667,000 logistician. Singapore employed 199,000, almost 200,000 logisticians saja. Okay, so revenue per logistician contribution from Malaysia ialah 85,500. Di Singapore 485,000, very high value. That's why when you work in Singapore, they can afford to pay you higher salary. Okay, because the contribution for the revenue is higher in Singapore compared to Malaysia. Okay, now the ratio is 1 Malaysian compared to the revenue contribution to Singapore is 5.6. 5.6 orang kerja. Okay, so the reason why Malaysia are not that efficient in terms of revenue contribution is because we are still doing 3PL logistics. Okay, we depend on depends on manufacturing. Okay, labor intensive logistics business and low value as well. Okay, now in Singapore, di Malaysia kita cakap 3PL saja. Di Singapore dia orang cakap pasal 4PL, 5PL, 6PL and 7PL. Very high value logistic chain. Okay, and Singapore dia tak ada natural resources, dia tak ada factory sebab dia tak cukup orang, so they depends on trading. They are the trading hub for many years, and because of trading hub they do distribution. So from ASEAN country kita buat manufacturing, send to Singapore, dari Singapore keluar negara lain. Itu yang dia buat. Okay, then that's how they become the high value logistics business, and they have the economics of skill. They can do a lot of automation. Okay, they can do a lot of automation. Next slide please. Now recently there is a big change. Banyak logistics company di Singapore actually sudah buka warehouse dekat Malaysia. Quietly, very quietly they move from Singapore to Malaysia. Sebab tanah, land price in Malaysia is very cheap. The labor in Malaysia also very cheap. Kalau you sekarang pergi Singapore punya port, you ambil satu batu, you throw, and then landed on the logistician in Singapore, they are from Malaysia. Okay, because more than 50% of the labor force in Singapore are actually from Malaysia also. So Malaysia are contributing to the logistics industry in Singapore as well. Now, in order for Malaysia to beat Singapore to become the next ASEAN logistics hub, basically government need to push logistics contribution to our GDP to 6.5% by year 2030. Dalam tahun 2030, logistics kita akan increase contribution to the GDP to 6.5%. So one of the biggest issue here will be the human capital, skilled human capital, skilled logistician. When you finish your study here, you will get your certificate and your diploma. All right. So you are considered skilled, semi-skilled and skilled logistician. So you are the people that we are looking for. All right. Now, how big is this number? How big is your opportunity in the future for your work, because you are thinking, bila saya graduate, saya takut tak ada kerja, but your potential is very big. How big they are? Let me explain to you. If our GDP were to grow 5% per annum, by the year 2030, we will achieve 547 billion US dollar GDP. Kalau logistics contribute to our GDP is 6.5% in the year 2030, okay, that numbers is become 147 billion in logistics revenue. Minus, just now I mentioned 57 billion, is a new 90 billion market for Malaysia to achieve in the year 2030. Okay, so kalau logistics productivity increase dari 85,000 seorang sampai 221,000 seorang, kita akan we will be looking at 407,000 new logisticians needed in the year 2030. Okay, so plus the current 667,000, we are looking at a 1 million logistician in the year of 2030. So I would encourage you to tell all your friends to look no further. The subject that will guarantee you a job of the future is definitely a logistics subject. Okay, so my job today is to give you a big picture. Subsequently, later we will talk about halal logistics and halal supply chain as well, because halal has become a very hot topic in recent year. Okay, halal logistics become hot topic due to the reason of the Japan Olympic 2020. During the time when Japan was trying to have their Olympic 2020, kalau you pergi Jepun, one of the biggest problem for you to find is the halal food, kan? Because you cannot find halal food in Japan. All right, because Japanese don't understand what is halal all about. Okay, they need to be educated about halal. At one time, if I remember, I saw a social media posting. The Japanese restaurant declared themselves as a halal restaurant, but inside the restaurant, at the kitchen there is a pack of non-halal food there. So somebody who went to makan, take a picture and post in social media, become viral. So that is a challenge in Japan. So halal is not talking about just the restaurant don't sell pork or alcohol, but not only that, the whole supply chain to bring the food from one point to another point must be halal as well. Okay, so that will be deeply discussed today in this meeting. So I have a friend in Japan that created the apps where you go to Japan, you download these apps and you will find all the halal restaurant in Japan, so that you can move around Japan and you can actually go and find a Japanese yakiniku barbecue beef that is halal as well. Halal become very important. We are looking at halal slaughtering house. How do you call slaughtering house? Rumah sembelihan. Okay, in Japan juga, because Malaysia suka Wagyu beef. You like Wagyu beef ke? Okay, Wagyu means Japanese lah. So the Wagyu beef can only come in from Japan. So now Japanese want to sell you their beef. In order to sell you your beef, they need to have a rumah sembelih di Jepun juga. Okay, so from the slaughtering house, how they move the cargo all the way, the beef all the way to Malaysia, itu require halal supply chain. So this topic will be discussed by our panel here. We are talking about Malaysia, but there is also an international element. So halal market is growing very fast because all the Muslim tourists are now moving all over the world. So when they move around the world, they also require halal food as well. So other countries like Korea, Japan, now they are learning about how to prepare proper halal food. So the supply chain itself is one the important factor. Like the case that I just mentioned earlier, dia orang tak faham, dia ingat the halal food means the food enough halal. no pork, tapi dalam kitchen dia ada pork items there, but they say not for this restaurant, if for somebody to eat in the restaurant. Itu pun salah. Okay? So, okay, I hope you enjoy today's talk. I hope you know that you have a lot of potential. Do continue your study if you can, from certificate to diploma. From the diploma side, you can find a very good job. I hope now we are talking about minimum salary for logistician in the market growing very fast. So, and again, I think Puan Norehan just now in the meeting room, we are talking about loyalty. Yeah, jangan work for 2 months, move on to another one. So try to stick to your employers. Be loyal, learn to be loyal. Okay, not only you have a good knowledge, but loyalty also very important. So with that, and also today PKT. By the way, I'm representing PKT. Kita ada booth di luar situ. We are now recruiting employees. Lepas ini, you boleh pergi booth PKT lah, and then sign up to work for us. A bit of advertisement. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Datuk Seri Dr. Michael Teo di atas ucap tangan sebentar tadi. Hadirin yang dihormati sekalian, dengan ini majlis menyerahkan kepada Encik Muhammad Faizal bin Abu Hassan selaku moderator bagi meneruskan fokus grup Dialog 2022. Majlis dengan sukacitanya dipersilakan.
Terima kasih kepada Tuan Pengerusi Majlis Cik Muhammad Firaus. Assalamualaikum, very good morning ladies and gentlemen. So today we are very honoured to have with us our expertise panelists from PKT Logistics Group Sdn Bhd, Datuk Seri Dr. Michael Teo, the Group Chief Executive and Managing Director of PKT Logistics Group Sdn Bhd, which is sitting next to me. Then we have Tuan Haji Roslan, member of the Advisory Council for Dewan Perniagaan Islam Malaysia. And the last but not least, we have Tuan Haji Amran bin Muhammad, penolong pengarah bahagian pengurusan halal Jabatan Agama Islam Pahang. Please welcome, gentlemen. So today we are going to discuss about the issues regarding the halal cold chain. And just now, Datuk Seri Michael Teo has already mentioned a little bit about halal logistics, and we can see there is some issues and challenges that need to be tackled. Without further ado, first I would like to invite our first panelist, Datuk Seri Michael Teo, to define the term halal cold chain. Datuk Seri, can you please, Datuk Seri?
Actually, the best person to define is from Jakim.
I think this one is more on the perspective of logistics.
From the logistics point of view, is for this is catering for Muslim community. At first, we thought the halal logistics, halal food, and halal supply chains are only for Muslim, but actually not right, because Malaysia, everybody eat in KFC, kan?
Yeah.
So KFC is actually halal. All right. So halal is not about just for the Muslim. Halal, actually, we noticed when we went into the principle of halal, actually is a very good organized way of process of slaughtering animal, either chicken or beef or whatever. And the whole supply chain is very clean. So we find that it is actually healthy juga. Not only just halal is just for Muslim reason, but actually it's a process of healthy, very clean process. So when PKT Logistics, we joint venture with a Japanese company called Daisei Every 24 back in 2016. They are looking for to learn the halal supply chain because of the Olympic 2020. So at that time, we actually went into to apply for halal certification.
Yeah.
From the halal certification, we learn a lot. Actually, we learn about how disciplined they are in terms of cleanliness, contamination, and so forth. We believe that the halal supply chain is a standard.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a higher standard than the normal way of handling logistics.
Yeah.
So that is my definition of halal supply chain. It's a new standard that actually take care of a lot of things, including how well we manage the logistics itself.
Even under your company, you already manage a lot of halal brands, isn't it, Dato'?
Correct. Yeah, we do a lot of halal distribution. One of them, of course, is the competitor to QSR, Mary Brown. How many of you eat a Mary Brown? Ada?
Ada, kenal Mary Brown.
Pernah makan Mary Brown? Itu truck yang deliver Mary Brown itu PKT lah. How many of you eat at Family Mart?
Family Mart.
Pernah? Truck yang deliver to Family Mart also from PKT lah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a supply chain side.
According to the logistics service provider. Yeah. So moving to Tuan Haji Roslan, in terms of halal cold chain, how this operation could benefit to the consumer and also to the retailers, Tuan Haji?
Okay, I was expecting a question with regards to the definition of halal
Okay.
supply chain.
Boleh.
But anyway, your moderator jumps into the the what they call the subsequent question with regards to the
Halal.
how this cold chain is affecting the consumer perception as well as consumers' acceptance or whatever standards that relates to halal. Yeah, definitely it's not just logistic alone, because under halal it is treated holistically. Because when I joined the halal fraternity back in 2007, my intention was to put it on the right track, of the corporations of KFC, Pizza Hut's delivery system. What is actually halal and what is the expectation of those who prefer halal, those who conceive halal as something that is very important in their food intake. And I definitely believe that all of us are concerned with how our food are being taken care of from farm to fork, and definitely the integral part of it is logistic, and of course cold chain is one of the sector of the whole supply chain. Yeah, and I am proud to say that my experience in KFC, by the way, since Mr. Michael, Datuk Sri Michael dah tanya pasal makan Mary Brown, I just wanted to see the hands. Siapa yang dah pernah makan KFC? KFC.
Ada fan KFC di sini.
Ada yang dah makan KFC? Ramai tu kan. Kalau dulu saya datang kat sini, bila saya tanya pasal KFC, saya boleh bagi voucher. Kerana saya bekerja dengan KFC. Tapi sekarang ni tak boleh. Boleh bagi Elio je. Okay. Anyway, the experience, the 12 years experience since 2007 has brought me to an understanding of what halal supply chain is all about. Yeah, halal supply chain is unique in the sense that it has to be in compliance with some different arrangement, especially with regards to its compliance to the requirement of the Sharia. This is very important and very distinct. It is just, in a word, there are two which is distinct. One is halal, the other one is kosher. The rest is of course universal. Yeah. So kosher and halal, although there are similarities, but there are also some differences. Yeah. Basically, when I talk about halal, they want to seek the responses of the public with regards to the establishment of this newly proposed Suruhanjaya Patuh Syariah. InsyaAllah pukul 9, kalau boleh dengar apa yang saya nak cakapkan tentang ini. Termasuk the halal cold chain, and in fact the supply chain, because we have to treat this holistically. We cannot attend to it piecemeal. That is why I propose that this Suruhanjaya be established, because it can be a coordinating factor for all those agencies under the government, yeah, to seek a coordinated what you call effort to bring into mainstream what is required by the public, especially when you talk about Malaysia, is the majority of them requires halal. So we need to see how halal can be promoted in such a way that it provides assurance, yeah, assurance to the consumers, yeah. Basically, there are three pillars for when you talk about halal. You talk about the three pillars. The three pillars, as I have, based on my 12 years of experience, the three pillars that I have identified during my tenure as the General Manager for Halal and Sharia Compliance of QSR brands, yeah, is actually, I've written down here. It's all about traceability, transparency and accountability. Tak payah pening-pening kepala nak define, because it is well defined in the Quran what is halal, but you just add it up, yeah? You just masukkan elemen yang berkaitan dengan tiga pillars tadi. Halal itu disokong oleh tiga pillars. Tanpa tiga tiang ini tidak ada guna